Hello and good morning. Autumn here from Thriving Heart Studio with day 2, practice painting spirals. So yesterday we had a lot of fun doodling 4 different types of spirals. Pretty much any of these could be replicated with paint, right? But there is a benefit from paint that these don't contain, and that is this ability to just kind of be more impressionistic and not as precise, kind of let the paint and the artwork take on its own life. Good morning, Emily. So I hope you've got prepared some paints and a canvas or paper. I'll show you what I've got here. I'll be twisting my phone, my video here, so that I'll be able to show more of the creation process than myself during the creation. And I've got watercolors and just washable paint because I want to show you how you could use like the most inexpensive stuff, and you can use that with children, right? Not to worry about clothes and things like that with acrylics. But I also want to show watercolors because that's a really cool medium to work with. And I thought we would do 4 different types of spirals you could paint. So I'm actually going to put 2 on each. I've got 2 sheets here, 2 on each sheet. But you're welcome to put yours, make yours smaller and put them all on one. So you have a keepsake of this time together. But I wanted to make sure I could make them big enough for you guys to see. So that's why I'm going to be doing 2 on 2 sheets. So the first thing I want you guys to do is to pick 2 primary colors that you want to start with. So I'm going to choose red and yellow. I call this a 2-toned spiral. Now, if you choose colors that and contain all the 3 primary colors, when they blend, they will make brown. So for instance, purple and red, they make a little purple reddish thing, but you've got to be careful not to mix the colors that would make brown unless you really want brown. So I know offhand that these will make a beautiful orange. So that is what I'm going to work with. All right, so you might hear my cat and my kid on his iPad. I'm going to start by just putting a small portion of my paints in separate parts of my little palette. I don't know if you guys have a palette. These things are really cool. Little plastic palettes. All right, I've got bigger brushes and I've got smaller brushes. So smaller brushes are going to be for detail, obviously, and the bigger ones are for that more impressionistic kind of gross motor movement. What can I do with these colors on this piece of paper? So, and as we do this, I want to talk about these aspects of ourselves and our lives that come up a lot that we're not super comfortable with. Like we notice we've got patterns that repeat, and we're trying to learn maybe how to develop healthier patterns, but they're still showing up. So this class is about honoring those patterns in our lives, being curious, learning from them, seeing the beauty that might be underneath them that we often miss. So I want you to think about that as we create. I'm going to go ahead and start with my first color, dip it right in, and I'm going to go ahead and turn this so you guys will see what I do. I'm going to stick on the 1/2 because I want to keep the other one. I'm going to start in the center just like I would do like if I was doodling. And I'm going to see what I can make with these colors. Now I don't really want it to be looking like a brush, so we're going to go like this. All right. And my brush, my spiral is going to be wider. Now, if you see here, I can kind of, depending on what paper and what you're using, you can kind of put a little bit of fading in here, right? Easy fading with a brush. And I'm just going to do these circle motions a little. Okay, so there is a swirl, a red one. Now, one point. This is going to dry fast for me. Acrylics don't dry as fast, so they'll be able to blend but I'm probably going to have to create an orange by mixing the colors before I put it on. Where acrylics, you could probably mix on the canvas or paper. But that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and do my yellow. This has actually got, if you can see this, shimmering in it. I didn't even rinse my brush because I don't care about that. And I'm going to fill it in on the inside. All right, and this is so cool. I think I can maybe make orange by overlapping a little. You see that? I wasn't sure because this is just Crayola washable paint. But it looks like it does it a little bit. And I'm also going to go ahead and just, now that I've used the red and the yellow that I want, I can mix the remaining colors together without needing to keep them separate. So I have an actual orange now here that I'll just kind of figure out where I want to stick. So you'll see just by using 2 primary colors, I'll be able to make a shaded 3-toned spiral. All right, that is spiral 1. All right. And remember, you can close them, make them circle, you can leave them open. I like the idea for, like, if we're talking about a pattern in our life that we're not super comfortable or accepting in ourselves yet, it's kind of cool to leave it open. Like, I'm still learning about that pattern. I still want to see what it wants to teach me. It's not closed yet. I might break that pattern. Here's one of mine. I ate too much chocolate from my child's Halloweening. So sweets can be a pattern of mine that it's hard to break sometimes. And it keeps me curious, you know? What is that about myself and my physique that makes me want that so much? All right, so this is style 1. And right next to it, I'm going to do the next style. I'm going to pick 2 different primary colors. So I'm going to go with blue and yellow. Okay. This blue is kind of purplish, but we'll see if it turns green. If not, I'll have to add a green. Okay, now I'm going to take a small brush. This is more of a precise, and this is going to be called a spiraled spiral. Okay, let's see if I can do it. Make sure you guys can see. All right, so there's a little guy. So I'm basically making a spiral out of spirals. And they're not gonna all look the same. And I don't have as wide of a space here as perhaps I'd like. Okay, but they're gonna go around. And I'm getting bigger as I spiral. So you get to practice that size. Okay, and so since I see I've got some space here, I could go a little smaller. And even a little smaller. Okay, and what do we need one more big one right here, right? Even if you can't finish. All right, bring those edges in. Just play with them a little bit. You can kind of play with paint, right? That's what I like about this medium. Okay, so this almost looks like three-dimensional, right? You've got the depth going in the center. It's coming out. Bring a little dimension to your artwork. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing I did with this one, but now they're smaller, right? And this actually might be purple because it doesn't look as blue as I thought. So it might not turn green at all. Let's see. And if not, you know, this is one part of art is exploring and learning. You learn what colors make brown together and what colors don't blend and how paper dries so quickly. So I got to be quick if I want to blend on cardstock. So I'll show you a cool look. What we'll do is we'll let these just be two-toned and maybe a little bit of the blending. Almost makes gray with my yellow. Add a little bit there. Okay, so since they're more like two tones, I'm gonna pick a third color, which might not be green because now that I look at it, maybe pink would be prettier. I'm gonna kind of fill in the interior. So like a background with the color. So I've got a pink. Actually, let me use another pink watercolor. I'm gonna go ahead and try that. Looks really red, but it's supposed to be pink. Okay. Okay, guys, I got to show you this. All right, so the watercolor looks like that on the thing. And it looks like that. Little deceptive there. Okay, so I'm going to dab my brush really good. I'm just going to do a little dabbing, probably. Let's see. On the inside here. This might end up looking like a flower. So we got some depth and we got some different colors going on. Spirals in spirals. Make your 3D look. That was a lot of paint. You see how far that took me with just one dab? And we'll just keep going outward. As if he's contained in the spire. Okay, so oops, sorry, I wasn't showing you. So there's just a little bit of a background color, and I just dabbed my paintbrush to get that look. All right, so there's two techniques here, and I'm going to move to the next technique. You get a good look at this. I'll hold it up a little bit better so you can see. We've got the different spiral shapes going in, coming out. You could add different colors if you wanted the background. You could make this as intricate as you wanted, right? As simple or as intricate. We're going to touch on that in the next work here. Okay, so the next one I want to do is called a broken spiral. And this means that your lines don't have to connect. You kind of imagine them connecting, but you're going to give them some freedom. And I'm going to use all different colors. So I've already got, let's see, 2 colors here. I'm going to add a few more colors to my little palette. So I have options. So this is going to be colorful. This kind of one, you could pick a pattern or something, but I'm going to make it colorful. And I kind of like the image of this being like when we are learning about our patterns, maybe why we got stuck, why we weren't growing the way we thought we should in some kind of goal or intention we had. And we start to see through it and we start to see why. So there's cracks in it and there's more freedom to break away from it because now we see more. So that's the idea with the broken spiral. Okay, so I'm going to start in the center. Whoops, let me fix this. All right. Just kind of imagining where your spiral might continue to go without connecting all the lines. And you know, it might not be perfectly circular, and that's okay too. This might start to look a little bit like a mandala, but that's a little different art that we will eventually explore. Okay, it might also look like a ripple, like a puddle. So now I'm going to take a different color, and I could stick on the same, or I could kind of vary it. I feel like whenever we use more color, we're tapping in to the rainbow, to an image of hope, to a spectrum of experiences, of contrast. Rain is often considered more of a negative experience, even though the ground needs it, right? And light is often perceived as very positive. So we put those together and we have the rainbow. So it's understanding how life might consist of harder and easier times. All right. Let me see where this might be going. I'm going to add some yellow. So here's where you just kind of follow what the painting speaks to you. Where does it want paint to go next? This is an interaction between you and a piece of art. Even though you're creating it, I feel like our art often has a life of its own and a mind of its own. And it might say like, oh, put that right here. Sometimes we don't even realize how we're tuning into the art like that, but we are. So. All right, I'll be excited to see what you guys create with a broken spiral, because there's so much freedom and potential, I feel, to be so different and unique. I'm gonna keep adding. This is my purple that I thought was blue. Thing about spirals is they usually have a focal point, right? This interior side here we're getting to. I might even make it like that. Think that like everything we go through, there's a reason, even if we don't know it. There's a reason why we struggle, reason why we succeed in things. If we ask why and are more curious, we might find the answers. And this is almost looking, if you guys can see, almost like a flower, like a rose. Ooh, Emily says it reminds her of tie-dye. Yeah, it sure does. All right, so I think I'm gonna add one more color. I got this orange I created. And this is more relaxing. So if you are doing art that takes a while and is more repetition, you'll find you can enter more of a meditative state. So when you set yourself up and you're like, okay, I'm gonna do 6 colors and each one's gonna take 5 minutes, boom, you've got a 30-minute self-care practice or activity. Relax from the world. Focus on doing something you enjoy, especially us moms, right? There's lots of needs. Liam's gonna paint afterwards. He chose his colors. And we're gonna do these techniques together. So, here's my orange. Might put a little orange in the center. All right. I'll probably stop there with this one for now. I'm going to show it to you up close though. There is a broken spiral intersecting with lots of other spirals. All right. All right. Now, for the last spiral I want to teach, I actually brought out my acrylic paint sticks. If you don't have paint sticks, you can use the back of a paintbrush. I'm going to show you both techniques. So we're basically going to do like a pointillism, like a dot spiral. And you can make it as creative as you want, kind of like this one. Lots of different colors, maybe even different sizes. You can also use your paintbrush and make circles that way. So I'll show you an example here. Maybe get your main spiral. Going. So the benefit of using the back of a paintbrush is you're going to have various sizes, right? The first dip is going to be bigger. So this has a lot of. Okay. So if you can kind of see the spiral in there, it'll look better as I go. So I'm going to go ahead and choose, this is a red acrylic paint stick. I'm going to see if I can add some around. I'm not pushing too hard because I'm not straight up and down like these work best in. I can tell. So I might struggle with this since it's not up and down. What I'm going to just do then is go back to my trusty paintbrush. So you're just kind of following the pattern around, putting your dots. And to me, this is another type of understanding of maybe the patterns. We don't want Facebook. We don't want ads here. So this also reminds me of like seeing through the pattern. You're getting more wisdom. You've sat with it. You've thought about it. You haven't judged yourself. Of course, that's sometimes one of our patterns, isn't it? To actually judge ourselves. So breaking that pattern is almost the first we need to break other patterns. Some of us have reactivity to people. You might get a little activated or triggered sometimes. People don't treat you with respect. You know, and there's times to respond to that in a very calm and emotionally regulated place. We seem to do better, but we have those patterns, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do green now. I still have, this is a shimmery washable paint. I'm just gonna keep following the spiral. I do wanna make sure I leave some of the white open. So that you can still see it's a spiral. So stay close in with that kind of width that you're doing. Otherwise you'll end up with just a collaboration of dots, which is okay too. That is also art. So any of these larger ones could be done in a smaller form and complete a whole page also. So I want you to remember that. And you could modify, instead of doing dots, you know, you could do a different shape, paint something. Looks like we forgot that area. All right. All right, so there is my dotted spiral. I think since I have time, I'm gonna grab a sheet of paper and do one more with you guys. All right, I'm gonna hold this up so we see these techniques. There are some ways to paint spirals. All right, does anyone have an idea they want to throw out before I use my intuition here and tap into a fifth spiral? So if you guys have any, Emily says her dots connect. Perfect, why not? All right, I think what I'm gonna do, if we don't have a certain idea, I think I'm gonna just start and do like a rainbow. I've got all these colors. The first technique, and just do a rainbow collaboration where they kind of blend together. So let's just see what happens if we do that. All right. So let's see, I'm gonna need a little bit more yellow and actual orange. All right, I'm gonna start with the red. And of course, see, right there, imperfection, that's okay. It has a life of its own. Red. I'm not even going to wash my paintbrush because I want the colors. Okay, orange. Let's get this yellow going on. I feel like green needs to be on the outside. So we're gonna bring it all around and make sure it has an opening for a bigger spiral. Okay. Now this is the only blue I got, unless I use my watercolor. But that's okay. Oops. Dipped it in the wrong one. It's all right, that makes a cool color. All right, so here I am. Just painting away. Now we're gonna add some pink or indigo. Oh, I know what I wanted to add. We didn't do accents yet with the white, so we'll be able to do that on this one. So see how quickly I was able to paint this? It didn't take a lot of precision, just kind of like very impressionistic. Just get the paint on the paper. I'm gonna touch it a little bit. I feel like it needs a little bit interconnecting with that rainbow. Okay, so now I don't have washable white, but I do have acrylic. So since I'm not worried about anyone but myself using it, I'm gonna go ahead and use this. I'm gonna add some accent. It will look like light, basically, if you add white. So I'm gonna put some in the very middle of my palette. I'm gonna use a clean brush. Okay, I'm dipping my acrylic and I'm gonna really just add white. Maybe where there already is some white, that kind of helps me. That way I don't feel like I'm leaving anything blank. And anyone who's creating today or watches the replay, please share your artwork. We just love to see what you create. And also let me know if you can resonate with just bringing awareness and love to some of the patterns in your life, some of the harder times that you don't necessarily like, but you're learning to work through, accept in yourself, gain wisdom. I'm just gonna keep adding the white on the white. Maybe the very center is white. How about that? And also use my ideas as inspiration for your own. So if you have a completely different idea of a spiral, show us. Like, that's the idea. There's like a million ways to create art, and even with one image. So we're almost done with this one, and then I will give you a little bit of preparation for tomorrow's class. All right, I'm feeling good about my spiral. I'll have to name this one. Portal of Hope. How's that sound? Okay. Let me do a quick recap. Here's Portal of Hope. We also have the very first ones, using primary colors and just creating that impressionistic swirl look, having the colors blend together. Spirals in spirals, you can be more detailed, show a little depth, practice that motion, more repetitive. Then we moved on up to even more repetitive with a broken spiral, lots of rainbows and colors. You could even combine these two together, couldn't you? After you did this, put dots or something in there. But then here's just a dotted spiral, keeping the lines somewhat close together to get the spiral look. All right, so there's our art. And let me now talk a little bit about tomorrow. So if you're interested in joining tomorrow, I created a template. These are printable, but you have to print them out before class. You can cut and decorate them during class. That would be fine, as long as you're not going to paint them. So if you're going to paint, you're either going to want to do that in advance and then just be able to cut them out. But if you bring marker, colored pencils, things like that to class, you can just bring these right with you, and we're going to cut them out together. And you just need glue or tape even to paste on another sheet of paper. So this idea is we're going to use some of the techniques that we learned already and make a three-dimensional kind of look and practice the cutting and pasting and choosing designs that way. So if you guys need these, send me a private message and I will just message you the PDF because I couldn't figure out how to post it on my page. So I will definitely get it to you if you want, or you can even freely cut out spirals or download your own templates, whatever you want. The idea is to have small, medium, and large, if you see there, images to work with tomorrow. Okay, so that is tomorrow's, and then Liam and I will do our other painting craft of his spiral design and post that also on our page. So please share away anything you create today, and thanks for being here, and I hope you guys had fun.